When you're thinking about setting an Easter table, sometimes you just need to give the bunnies and the eggs a break. So this table is a little bit more sophisticated. It's completely inspired by the Gucci Flora collection. And I know, florals for spring, groundbreaking, but trust me, this one is. I honestly just was not feeling Easter this year as far as like getting inspired for a table. I just couldn't figure it out. And then I went to the Gucci store on Rodeo. I know. I was shopping with Matt's mom and I saw the Gucci Flora collection, which I had seen a million times, but I have this Gucci book I wanted to show you. It's so fabulous and so spring, and I was like, oh my God, that would be the most incredible Easter table. So I got out this book and I looked up some pictures online and I just fell in love with all the flowers, and here we are. So I'm gonna walk you through the table. I started putting this table together by going to Joann Fabrics to look for the fabric. I have a pretty long table. It seats about 12 people when it's completely expanded. I'm a huge fan of expandable tables, but if you're looking for one, make sure that the leaf of the table, which is the part that expands, make sure that it stores inside the table. You do not want to give up precious closet space to store leaves of a table, trust me. Unless you have a family heirloom, then you kind of have to deal with it. But I highly recommend if the leaves can actually store inside. Mine actually expands like incredibly easy, this outdoor table. So I started looking at Joann Fabrics because a really long tablecloth can be really expensive. If you go to some of the higher end stores, you can spend like hundreds of dollars on a tablecloth. And hello, they can get stained. So I found this fabric. I spent $35 on the fabric because I had a discount coupon on my app, and I got about 3.5 yards so that I could make this table expand and do it big, or I could just do it for 6 like I have it set today. So I did that, got the fabric, and then all I did was I mitered the corners, which I will walk you through right now. Start by folding the edge of the fabric over 1/4 of an inch and press using a steam iron. Do this around the entire piece of fabric. Once you've got that done, you're going to want to fold it over 1 inch now. Then you've got that nice and tucked in. Go ahead and press that as well using your steam iron. Make sure and get the corners really, really pressed because we need all those marks to help us miter the corners. Once it's nice and pressed, open it up, and then you're going to measure 2 inches from the corner and go ahead and mark that using a dressmaker's pen. You're going to do that on both sides. 2 inches, mark it. Now you're going to draw a line across and connect the dots. Pretty straightforward. Once you've connected the dots, you're actually going to fold the fabric in half and meet those dots together. Go ahead and secure that with a pin. Sew right down the line that you just drew, and you've got a mitered corner. All you have to do is cut the excess fabric and then turn it right side out, and you will reveal a beautiful mitered corner. And then all those edges that you pressed are nice and clean and looking fabulous. Once the corners were mitered, it was really easy. All I had to do was sew all the way around the edge, and bam, I have a tablecloth. Now, if you don't have a sewing machine or you don't want to sew, don't worry, you can still do this project. There's a product called Stitch Witchery, and it's basically this little strip of bonding that you use with your iron. So all you do is turn it over twice, iron it on, and you can do this project as well. This is really, really easy to use and very affordable. Okay, so we have our tablecloth. Now I can breathe. As I went through sort of looking for more inspiration photos of the collection, I realized that they keep using this awesome clasp, and it's this bamboo piece, which I'll show you right here. It's a little bamboo piece. It's on the bottom of this purse, and they put it on the top of shoes and things like that, and I was like, that would be an incredible napkin ring. How can we make that happen? To create the napkin rings, all I had to do was go to Michael's Arts and Crafts, and I found these bamboo poles. I was like, okay, I've got those, great. And then I was searching for the clamp on the side to sort of give it that whole like claspy horse bit kind of feeling. And I couldn't find anything. And then I found these D-rings, which you can use for belts and things like that. Very affordable, super easy to use. So I'm like, okay, I have everything I need. Awesome. Once I had all the materials, I took them all outside. I have my Dremel saw and just a normal cordless drill. And I actually used the Adirondack chairs that we have out in our little patio area to clamp the bamboo down so that it wouldn't move. The idea is that I'm gonna cut this section with the little ring around it, and that's gonna be the center of the napkin ring. And then I'm gonna put 2 D clips which you can find in like a fashion area of a craft store. And those are gonna go on the side. So I'm gonna first drill the holes for those clamps to go into. So my holes are done. Now I'm just going to use my little Dremel. If you have a bigger saw, this would be a lot faster. Or if you have a friend that has a workshop, this could take about 5 minutes. I've spent about 3 minutes on each one of these, so it really doesn't take that much time. So I got the biggest saw blade that I could find in my little Dremel kit, and I'm just gonna cut these ends off to make them shorter. So I've got it cut off. Now I'm just gonna use the little sanding part of this to finish the edges. Cool, looks good. Next. Thank you, next. Once your bamboo is cut, this is really easy. I just bent the D-ring a little bit, just enough so that I could slide the bamboo in, put it through the hole, and then slide it around and put the other one through the hole. And then you basically just center it back, and then you've got this really cool bamboo with metal napkin ring. To make this an actual napkin ring, I used some vintage ribbon that I found at a flea market, and I just sewed a seam inside. You could hand sew it, you could staple it if you had to, I guess, but hand sewing is really easy. It's like sewing on a button, just a little bit. I have a sewing machine, so I just ran it through the machine 5 times. Easy, ready to go. And because I wanted this to feel kind of Gucci, I already had these green napkins, and Gucci's colors are green and red, but I didn't want the red because I didn't want it to feel like Christmas. So I used the green napkin, put it in, and I am absolutely in love with how this turned out. Because there's something about the bamboo with the floral, it's just like, it's so fashion and it's so spring, and it just like really came together and looked so good. I think the real star of the show with this table is the flowers. These are amazing. All I did was I took the picture of the floral pattern and I sent it to my friends at Petal Driven. They're incredible because they send you farm fresh from the grower flowers right to your house. So easy, and they are just incredibly helpful over there. So I sent them the picture. I was like, I need all the flowers that are in this that are available. So they sent me this massive box, which is incredible. I didn't have to go to the store, super, super fresh. Once I saw all the flowers, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have enough vases for this. So I decided to mix the vases. I used some blue and white, I used some clear, and I am in love with how this worked out. Lots of sort of different sizes, shapes, everything. What I did is I pulled all the vases together, and I just honestly was like, you know what? Let's just mix all of this up. Let's not make this an arrangement. Let's just make this feel very free, very loose, and I love how it turned out. I started with some of the bigger vases first, and I just pulled the colors, and I wanted pretty much every color to be represented in every vase. That was really the only method to my madness. If you're not great at floral arranging, this one is definitely for you because you can't mess it up. It's kind of like painting by numbers. You're like, okay, blue, purple, yellow, orange, done. And it's really easy to make it work. So I filled all the vases, had all the colors represented, and then I started laying it out on the table, and I found these other little details because if you look at the fabric pattern, it actually has butterflies in it. So I found some butterflies at Michael's, and they're on these little thin wires, and I just tucked them in. Now, if you would have told me that you were gonna do this, I'd be like, that sounds super cheesy. But honestly, I think it looks so cool. It adds a little bit of whimsy, and it adds a little touch of the unexpected. You sit down for Easter brunch, and you're like, oh my gosh, there's like a little butterfly garden in the center of the table, and it just looks so cool. And I will tell you, I think these butterflies look pretty real. It's pretty incredible. So, flowers are done. Tablecloth is done. Now it's time to actually set the table. I wanted it to have a couple extra layers, so I started with my gold chargers. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, I've been using these gold chargers for a long time. But they just keep working. I don't know. It's kind of magical. And I got new plates recently, so they're a little bigger, and so you actually see a little bit less of the gold, which I like, because then it's more of an accessory than like a big focal point. So I started with those, and then I just added my larger dinner plate. And then on top of that, I added my spring and summer plates, which have an anchor on them. Now, obviously, this is not a nautical theme, But once you cover it with the napkin, you never even know it's nautical underneath that at all. You just see this navy blue border, which I think really gives it a nice separation and just makes the whole table pop. Love the green napkin on there. And of course, our custom-made Gucci-inspired napkin rings are so cool. This table gets finished off with obviously your flatware and champagne because we're thinking this is Easter brunch time, so you gotta have the bubbles flowing. You can create a really festive Easter table without bunnies or eggs. I think this is gonna definitely make everyone very excited when they turn the corner and see this table and the little butterflies and all the flowers and of course those Gucci-inspired napkin rings. That's really the point of setting a beautiful table. It's not to impress people or make them think that you're cool, although they probably will, but it's really to create a fun environment so that people realize that you've created this awesome space to create a special memory. So that's really the whole point, in my opinion. If you like this table, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're inspired to create a table of your own, I want to know your inspiration, so let me know in the comments section. If you want more details on this whole table, all the links are in the description. I'm going to send you right to my website, theodoreleaf.com, so you can find the flowers, the DIY, all the things. All right, everyone, thank you so much and happy Easter.